Before we get to the rest of the show, motherfucker, let me tell you about the week I had. We had something very special planned for you this evening that we had to scrap very recently. I know, but listen, I'm just as mad as you are, though I have way more information. Tonight on the show, we were going to announce that Richard's pet tortoise had died and that Richard was very sad. This was a bit, don't worry. Richard doesn't have a pet tortoise. But we were gonna say he does and that it died and that he was very sad. And we're gonna be like, oh my God, no one should outlive their pet. And it'd be very, we'd play it very serious. Then we were gonna be like, how can we possibly pay tribute to this dead tortoise here on our show? Then ding dong, the doorbell would ring. I'd walk up there, I would open the door, and it's Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. And they were gonna say, our tour bus broke down and we heard you guys are sad. The setup didn't even make sense at all. But then, in honor of the tortoise, they were gonna perform Crossroads. If you're not familiar with Crossroads, it was an enormous hit that Bone Thugs-n-Harmony had in 1996 about their friend's tragic death, and I cannot overstate how hugely popular it was with horned-up junior high kids at Catholic schools to grind with each other during the Clinton administration. We really want to make this happen. I am so committed to making this happen. We reach out to a contact we find online for Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, and we schedule a Zoom with their manager. 3 weeks ago, my writers and I get on this Zoom with just the manager. Let me be clear. The members of Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, that is Busy Bone, Lazy Bone, Crazy Bone, Wishbone, and Flesh and Bone, are not on the Zoom. But the manager assures us that they're really into the idea and want to do it, and they really like the script. We're in business. I mean, I could already picture the Emmy in my hand, Best, I don't even know what. But the manager then says, hey, you won't get all 5 of them. One of them is not available. I ask, which one? And I'm 100% serious. He says, Busy Bone. Which makes sense that he would be the hardest to schedule. If you had said Lazy Bone can't be there, I'd be like, is he busy or does he just not want to do it? Apparently Busy Bone, they say, rarely performs with the other bones. Okay, I take him at his word. I was fine with that. I had such confidence in the bit working, and I had such faith in you, the audience, for either not caring or not even realizing that one of the members was missing. So we're off to the races. Production, production, production. First sign that something's out of the ordinary. We asked for their sizes so that we can provide wardrobe. They said, we've got that covered. I say, okay. I say, sure. We then speak to the audio department here at the show. And they say, hey, after they ring the doorbell and enter, they have to pull out hand mics. Can you make sure that they have pants with back pockets? Okay. So this gets back to the manager. FYI, they got to have pants with back pockets to pull out the mics. The manager says, the pants we bought don't have pockets. If you want pants with pockets, you should get some yourself. Okay, weird. On Thursday of last week, just this past Thursday, I checked back in because they had not signed their contract yet. The manager says, in order to get there next week, we need $2,800 cash of just running around money. He says they're in the middle of a tour, and it's not so easy to just dip out. I check online. They have a show April 19th in Inglewood, and then another one in June, also in LA. But this is what they need, and I'm happy to provide what our talent needs. And they needed the cash by Friday. Okay, I don't want to get into like a tax thing, so I would ask that this next part of the story not leave this room. The cash had to come from me. Like I couldn't pay it through the show budget, okay? So now I need to withdraw $2,800. Okay. A few years ago, in an effort to safeguard my sobriety, I set up certain measures, right? I set up a system where I cannot have, at any time, more than $300 cash unless I alert certain people. So on Friday, I call my wife, Olivia, who is in New York, and I say, hi, how are you? And I say, I need to get $2,800 cash, and I need it today. And she said, what is it for? And I said, it's for Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. Well, only 4 of them. $700 a bone. And she's like, John, you know I love you. If you want to tell me something, you can tell me it. And I, in an effort to calm her down, said, you don't understand. I have to have this. I have to have this right now. I get the cash out of the bank. All right. Then I hear, forget the $2,800 cash. Just give us all the money for the appearance up front. I said, I can't do that. I cannot give you all of the money up front. I can give you half, okay? Because I totally respect and I empathize that you sometimes show up to a gig and you get stiff, but I can't give you it all up front. I can give you half. You just have to sign your contract. I don't hear back. 2 days ago on Monday, I am told that Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, booked on this show since the first week in March, are in the studio all week and cannot be on the show. But he's like, don't worry. We can get this all wrapped up and be there next week for blank dollars. How much do you think that the original fee was going to be $15,000, half up front? How much do you think they asked for on Monday? They asked for $100,000. $100,000 half that day. I said, there is no way I can do this. I said, there's no way I can make that happen. And then I said, very uncharacteristically, you have disrespected me. And you have disrespected my show. I braced for an apology. I don't get one. It turns out there isn't a sorry bone. 2 hours later, he writes back, we can get this taken care of for $75,000. I was like, hey, you screwed me over and you screwed our show over, and I won't forget this disrespect. Now, I didn't tell you all this just to air the dirty laundry of what it's like behind the scenes of a show, okay? Many guests have shaken me down for a couple $1,000s and then canceled last minute. It happens all the time. I'm telling you about it because I'm genuinely worried. After a little investigating, I have come to believe that the man I was talking to was not the manager of Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. In fact, several sites list a different person. Also, Busy Bone is scheduled to appear at all upcoming shows. So it appears it isn't so hard to get the fellas together. I'm concerned now that I never had any direct contact with Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. As you know, on Everybody's Live, we always keep the phone lines open for people to call in about our show's topic. I want you to know the phone lines are open right now on this show. The number will come up on your screen. I would ask that you, or if anyone you know, there it is, if you, or if anyone you know is a member of Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, please call that number. Let's clear this up. And if I don't hear from the band, I know you are appearing at the Kia Forum on April 19th as part of Crush Groove Festival, along with Method Man and Redman, MC Magic, Baby Bash, and Cali Swag District. And I don't want things to be awkward, but I am also on that show. And to whoever I was dealing with, sir, first off, credit where credit is due. I do indeed look like someone you could hustle over a booking for Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. But you played this very wrong. Indeed, I am pretty unaware of what things should cost or how much money it takes to sing songs. And had you asked for $50,000 on Monday, and then had you asked for $25,000 on Tuesday, and then had you shown up today at our taping with any 4 men claiming to be Bone Thugs-n-Harmony and named any sum of money to walk out on our stage, ooh, you would be a very rich man indeed. Instead, you have nothing. I, meanwhile, have $2,800 in cash that I have to return to my wife and then immediately alert my sponsor. And to my audience, I am so sorry that we were not able to get this ridiculous bit of shoehorn comedy on stage in front of you. But to make it up to you, 4 of you will go home with tortoise-themed pants, originally made with back pockets for Bone Thugs and Harmony. A microphone will fit in the back. Let's get this show started.